Did the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, know about AI, artificial intelligence? I'm Cleofe from the Cleofe podcast. Let's move on to the deep dive, but as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to help spread the word. Jack and Wilson, we'd love to hear your deep dive now.
Imagine this for a second. You're looking at texts from like 7th century Arabia,
Yeah.
totally different world. And somehow you find insights that talk directly to us now in our, hyper-connected AI-driven world. Sounds pretty wild, doesn't it?
Okay.
But that's exactly what we're diving into today. In this deep dive, we're going to explore how the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, specifically his incredible foresight about knowledge and its challenges, how that resonates so clearly now in the age of AI. Our mission really is to unpack these ideas, highlight this tension which feels so current between having tons of information and absolute abundance and the real risk of losing true understanding. And most importantly, what does this actually mean for you? Trying to learn and navigate this pretty overwhelming information landscape we're all in. To help us figure this out, we've got some really interesting sources lined up. We're looking at excerpts from things like End Times, Knowledge and Ignorance in Islamic Prophecy, Prophet Muhammad, AI and End Times Wisdom, and also Prophetic Knowledge in the Age of AI.
These draw on the classic hadith collection, Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, and the Quran. But crucially, they also offer modern interpretations, kind of bridging that gap between ancient wisdom and today. It's a unique perspective. So let's really dig into this first point. It's quite something, isn't it? Thinking about 7th century Arabia, mostly oral traditions, not widespread literacy. And yet Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, talks about the future of knowledge in ways that just seem perfectly suited for right now, for our digital age. What is it about that specific time, that context, that makes this foresight seem so, striking?
It really is the contrast, I think. To talk about a flood of knowledge or how knowledge itself would change in a society where information spreads so differently, mostly by memory, person to person. It's that difference that makes these prophecies so compelling. Many people who study these texts see it as, evidence of the timeless nature of his message. Principles that aren't just for one era, but guide people across centuries. The context really shows these weren't just comments on his immediate world, but a vision looking far ahead.
Right. And a key part of that vision was this idea of a flood of knowledge happening at the same time as maybe even causing less accurate understanding.
Mm-hmm.
That's correctness. It's almost like he foresaw the sheer scale of the internet or what AI can do, but also, crucially, the problems this would create for really getting it. For genuine understanding, how could that idea even come about back then?
Well, the prophet's statements about the end times, they included a very stark warning about the nature of knowledge itself. He spoke of this huge influx, a deluge of information, but he warned that true understanding, wisdom, discernment, real insight, that would become harder to find, increasingly rare. It's not that information disappears, but that its quality, its authenticity, and our ability to really process it meaningfully, that's what shifts. It becomes harder to pick out the real insights from just noise or superficial data or even stuff that's deliberately misleading because there's just so much of it. He made this really clear in a hadith from Sahih al-Bukhari. He said, indeed, Allah does away with knowledge not by snatching it from the hearts of the people directly, but by taking away knowledge by the death of scholars. And this goes on until no scholar remains. And then the people will take as leaders ignorant individuals who will be asked for verdicts and give them without knowledge. Thus they will go astray and lead others astray. That's incredibly powerful, isn't it? It really underlines how vital true scholars are as sort of custodians of knowledge, and the real danger, when leadership or guidance falls to people who just don't know, who lack that genuine wisdom.
Okay, so it's not just about the amount of information then. It's deeper. It's about losing the guidance, the wisdom that you normally get from people who've truly studied and learned. It's like the filter disappears, or the ethical compass, or just the framework for making sense of it all. That's a powerful and a pretty unsettling image.
Exactly, precisely. And other hadiths, they reinforce this same theme. They connect this decline in religious knowledge specifically to wider changes in society, framing them as clear signs of the end times. For instance, Sahih al-Bukhari tells us, near the establishment of the hour, there will be days during which religious ignorance will spread, knowledge will be taken away, vanish, and there will be much al-harj. Now, al-harj, it's important to understand, means widespread killing or serious social breakdown. So this isn't just about not knowing facts, it's about a collapse of order that goes hand in hand with losing true guidance. And then Sahih Muslim paints an even broader picture. It says, from among the portents of the hour are the following. Religious knowledge will be taken away by the death of religious learned men. Religious ignorance will prevail. Drinking of alcoholic drinks will be very common. There will be prevalence of open, illegal sexual intercourse.
Wow. What strikes me there is, yeah, it's not just about not having facts. It paints a picture of a whole moral and social decline alongside this lack of authentic knowledge. It really hammers home that idea that ignorance will prevail, maybe not despite the information flood, but almost because of it. Like you're drowning in this ocean of data, but you can't actually drink any of it. It's there, but it doesn't sustain you. Okay, this is where it's really interesting for us right now. How do these predictions from the 7th century connect so strongly to our reality, the 21st century, especially with artificial intelligence? I mean, gap in time, technology, it feels huge. But the parallels seem, well, undeniable.
AI, absolutely. It represents a capability we've just never seen before. Think about large language models, right? They can process, they can analyze, they generate unbelievable amounts of information at speeds we couldn't have imagined, even, say, 10 years ago. And this creates a very powerful facade, an illusion that knowledge has increased dramatically. We feel like we have answers to everything, just, a quick search away. But as our sources really emphasize, having access to information doesn't automatically mean deeper understanding or real wisdom. It's like having a key to the biggest library ever built, but not knowing how to read or how to tell which books are true and which aren't.
That's a crucial difference. So AI gives us this almost infinite volume of information. But the core challenge, just like predicted, is still understanding it. The bottleneck isn't access anymore. It's wisdom. It's discernment. Can you maybe elaborate a bit more? How does AI specifically create this facade, or how does it contribute to this decline of true understanding we're talking about?
Sure. Well, one big way is through what they call hallucinations in these large language models. You ask an AI something, and it can generate an answer that sounds completely factual, totally confident, but it's actually wrong, made up. Because they don't know things like humans do. They're essentially predicting the next likely word based on patterns in their massive training data. So they can give you a verdict, like the Hadith says, but without any real understanding or grounding in truth. And for us, the users, it's often really hard to tell the difference, especially when it sounds so fluent and authoritative. And then there's algorithmic bias. This is huge. AI systems learn from the data we feed them. Now, if that data reflects existing biases in society, racial bias, gender bias, whatever the AI learns those biases too, and it doesn't just learn them, it can actually amplify them. So the knowledge it provides might be skewed, unfair, incomplete. And that leads to decisions or understandings that aren't accurate. This directly undermines trying to find objective truth or achieve fairness.
That's a really powerful point. It's just like that hadith we talk about, the absence of scholars leads people to accept verdicts without knowledge. But now, maybe it's not just ignorant people, it's accepting AI's verdicts without knowledge. Verdicts generated without real comprehension, maybe even with built-in biases. And our sources mention the declining authority of human experts. Well, that just makes us rely more on the tech output, doesn't it? It's like a perfect storm. More access than ever, but maybe less reliable guidance.
Exactly. It mirrors those prophetic statements very clearly. This abundance that, weirdly, leads to more confusion and more misinformation. Think about things like deepfakes, too. AI can now create incredibly realistic fake videos, audio, images, making it harder and harder to know what's real. Discerning truth from falsehood becomes a massive challenge. Then you add things like filter bubbles, algorithms showing us only stuff they think we'll agree with. We end up in these echo chambers, cut off from different views. It hinders critical thinking, makes us easier to mislead. So yeah, we're swimming in data, but kind of drowning because we lack clarity and genuine, unbiased insight.
Which brings us to a really, really important question, I think, for all of us. Beyond just whether information is accurate or true, what about the ethics? What are the ethical implications of this information flood, and especially AI's role in it? It's not just what we know, it's what we do with it and what it does to us.
Absolutely. The ethics are, paramount here. The Prophet's teachings, they consistently pushed for fundamental principles: justice, truthfulness, integrity, accountability. These aren't just nice ideas. They're essential frameworks for dealing with AI's complexities. For instance, that issue of bias in AI I mentioned, that's a direct challenge to the principle of justice. If an AI used for, say, loan applications or hiring unfairly disadvantages certain groups because of its biased training data, well, that's a clear ethical failure. And then there's accountability. If an AI driving a car makes a mistake, who's responsible? The programmer, the company, the person behind the wheel. These are new questions. The prophetic focus, you see, isn't just on getting knowledge. It's deeply about applying it ethically. Knowledge without that strong ethical compass It can be incredibly dangerous, especially when it's amplified by systems with such power and reach. The sources remind us, fundamentally, that knowledge should serve humanity, not to confuse, mislead, or harm it.
So, thinking about all this, what does it mean for you, the listener, trying to navigate this world? The Quran doesn't mention AI by name, obviously, but it definitely stresses seeking knowledge and understanding. But it also warns, quite powerfully, against people who distort truth or just follow their own desires without real guidance. Like Quran 47.18 suggests signs will appear before the end, but people might not pay attention. That implies we have a responsibility to actually see and discern. How do we do that?
Right. And interpretations of these texts often see this whole flood of knowledge situation as a major test, a test for humanity. The real challenge isn't just finding information, it's discerning what's beneficial, what's authentic knowledge rooted in solid principles and wisdom from all the noise, the misinformation, the bias outputs flying around. It's really a call to engage critically, deeply, with everything you consume. That means practically developing your own way to evaluate information, questioning where it came from, thinking about why it was created, especially if it's AI generated. Simple things maybe like actively looking for different viewpoints on a topic, not just settling for the first Google result or what the algorithm feeds you. It means cultivating a bit of healthy skepticism. Being aware that AI has limits it doesn't truly understand, it doesn't have ethical reasoning like humans do. And maybe it also means returning to human sources of wisdom sometimes. Scholars, experts, critical thinkers who can offer that context, that moral compass, that raw data often lacks. These ancient warnings aren't just about predicting a future. They're about urging us to consciously shape our present by how we engage with knowledge.
So we've gone from these 7th century prophecies all the way to the challenges we face right now with AI. And found these striking parallels. Warnings about so much information leading, paradoxically, to so little real understanding. The wisdom of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, it really does seem to offer this powerful, timeless framework for thinking about these issues, reminding us that some truths about humanity, about society, they really do hold up across centuries, no matter how much our technology changes. So maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on. We live in this age where information feels infinite, right? It's always there, instantly available via AI, online platforms. But genuine wisdom, that deeper understanding, it often feels harder to find, more elusive. How do you personally make sure that your own quest for knowledge actually leads to real understanding, that it sharpens your critical thinking, that it motivates ethical action, instead of just getting swept away in the flood, potentially misled by algorithms or biased data?
Yeah, this whole deep dive really underscores that timeless need, doesn't it? Not just to consume information, but to actively seek out what's authentic, to engage with it critically, and to apply it responsibly, ethically, keep questioning, keep learning, and maybe most importantly, keep discerning. The future of understanding, well, it really is in our hands.
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast. I hope you've gained some valuable insights. If you're a truth seeker, yearning for divine light and ready to step out of darkness, now is your moment. The truth is that Allah is the one and only creator of the universe. He has sent over 124,000 messengers and prophets to guide humanity, starting with Adam and culminating with the final messenger, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all. If you resonate with this message, you might be ready to embrace Islam. Simply recite the Shahada, the Islamic declaration of faith. For further support, feel free to join our WhatsApp group. You can send us a private message there. The link is in the video description. Don't wait until it's too late. We look forward to connecting with you soon.